maybe on YouTube. Let's make sure we're live on YouTube. We're not live on YouTube. No, it says we're live. I don't know. Tell me in the chat. Is it working? Oh, there it is. I see another video came out and put it on top. Nice. We have even another video to show. Sweet. All right, starting the show. 81. Or I shall live your epitaph to make, or you survive when I in earth am rotten. From hence your memory death cannot take, although in me each part will be forgotten. Your name from hence immortal life shall have, though I, once gone, to all the world must die. The earth can yield me but a common grave, when you entombed in men's eyes shall lie. Your monument shall be my gentle verse, which eyes not yet created shall overread, and tongues to be your being shall rehearse, when all the breathers of this world are dead. You still shall live, such virtue hath my pen, where breath most breathes, even in the mouths of men. William Shakespeare, Sonnets. This book cracked when I opened it. It was like it was crying out. It's like I've never been opened before.
The Necronomicon.
It has incredible powers. Here's one for Dan, 23, of course. As an unperfect actor on the stage, who with his fear is put beside his part, or some fierce thing replete with too much rage, whose strength's abundance weakens his own heart, so I, for fear of trust, forget to say the perfect ceremony of love's rite, and in mine own love's strength seem to decay, overcharged with burthen of mine own love's might. Oh, let my books be then the eloquence, and dumb presages of my speaking breast, who plead for love and look for recompense, more than that tongue that more hath, more expressed. Oh, learn to read what silent love hath writ, to hear with eyes belong to love's fine wit. So there you go.
Very lovely. Yeah.
A little Shakespeare action. It's a nice one.
So hopefully we're all a bit much ado about nothing with the virus. I was really optimistic when we started.
That's nonsense. That's complete nonsense.
I'm starting to pick up the South Park, not South Park, the Team America panic sign.
We had a good run. It was a heck of a society. It wasn't very strong.
Bitcoin
Next time we should build a stronger society.
Well, maybe we can escape. Surely Elon Musk has got some sort of moon thing going on. We can escape there.
Could go to Mars.
Go to Mars, yeah. Maybe just stop at the moon. Don't want to push the boat out too much.
Well, let's go ahead and get started today. It's Thursday, March 19th, 2020. This is the Thomas Hunt Show. I'm Thomas Hunt, so that makes sense. That's Dan. Say hi, Dan.
Hi, dude.
Dan from the Crypto Raptor. Checking out the price of Bitcoin as it tiptoes over 6,000 just so we can have the show. The price of Bitcoin is up 10.81% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 6,002, 6,003, with a high of 6,004. Today's low was 5,200. That's $1 for 16,000 Satoshis, approaching the 15,000 Satoshi barrier. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is all over the place this morning. It opened at 19,898, then immediately fell to 19,1, then rose to 19,9, even touching 20, falling back to 19,7, rising all the way to 22 and 20.2, and then falling to 19,9. That's up 0.05% or unchanged on the day. So the price of Bitcoin is up 10, make that 11%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average is even. That means that the price of Bitcoin is not linked to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Huh.
Maybe the prophecies are coming true.
Oh.
Coming unlinked.
Becoming unlinked. 11% up now. Checking out our top stories, coronavirus cases top 200,000, reaching 208,185. For those of you who are keeping score, it's doubled in the last 7 days. That's right, global doubling 7 days. So if we double it again in another 7 days, that would be 400,000 infected. The 8,000 dead would double to 16,000 dead. And that's just assuming a double in a week. So no.
Sorry, I wasn't laughing. I just saw the stay the fuck home. I wasn't laughing at the stats because I think God, if you refresh the page now, you'll be sorely disappointed as well. It's gone up.
Oh, 230. Ouch. And 9,000 deaths. So if you double that, that's going to be more like 460 or 9. That's going to be 18. So yowza. Ouch. Stay the fuck home. That's right. Stay the fuck home. That's it. And like this video. It's free. It's fun. It's like an activity. Like we could have a whole crew of people. They're like the like squad, and they come into the chat and they're like, "Hi, I'm Jim from Cleveland, and I like this video." I'll be like, "I'm Fred from New Jersey, and I like this video." And it'll be a whole thing every day, because basically every day I have to set up all these things and change the title, which I didn't do yesterday. And I have to change the title and change the description, and you guys just have to like the video. So it's like a good deal. Like it's a trade-off.
I'm just curious of what Clockwork Elves are. Do you know what they are, Tom? Just in the chat.
Oh yeah, I'm glad to talk about Clockwork Elves. I think that he's mainly referring to there's some kind of a shared hallucination, and I don't know much about it. Haven't been there personally. When people take DMT, that they all see these little elves that are running the universe. And the problem is that many different people in different places who are disconnected, who are not told in advance that they'll see elves, end up seeing these creepy interdimensional elves.
Wow.
I know. That's it. And if you really want to get into it and be scared, on the Joe Rogan show, that Alex Jones guy, who you can believe in if you want to, he said that NASA or some kind of other strange government agency was actually having people use DMT on purpose to go talk to the elves, and they were making treaties. So that's anything to not talk about the coronavirus, right? You were distracted. You were distracted for like half a second. You were like, wow, DMT, magic elves, NASA. This is like, woo woo. I'm using that one a lot more than I thought I would. That one's starting to come up in my in my sound effects library. I like that. But yeah, no, and as far as human animal hybrids, that was also covered on the Joe Rogan show with Alex Jones. So you can go check that out. Yeah, I don't know anything about that personally, but yeah, there's lots of fun stuff out there, and any of it is more fun than talking about the coronavirus. So, but let's keep going. Bitcoin sees 9% gain as turmoil hits the Forex markets. Oh, that must be the reason. Technical charts indicate scope for a rise to a key resistance at 5,926. Let me check my watch. Yep, we're over that. We're over 5,926 and 50 cents. A move higher would confirm a breakout on the hourly chart and may propel prices towards $6,400. Be propelled. Are you propelled? I am propelling you.
Isn't it like, I think hopefully it's going to happen. Well, start again. All the money that's been liquidated from all the stocks and people selling out, they're probably looking to maybe, spread their wealth a bit more now. So we might be seeing a lot of that money that's just shifted off the stock market and the futures and everything like recently. And hopefully that money will flow into Bitcoin, especially if people get their like $1,000 a month or whatever it is and just slam it straight in there. BTC.
Oh yeah, $1,000 a month is going to go so far. We're going all the way, right? That's a lot of money. So, but yeah, no, I don't think that people are risking back into the stock market. I would like to think that the smart money sees this 10% bump and goes back to that whole Bitcoin is a safe haven thing. But it's not just going to happen like overnight because we want it to. There's a sudden rush where everyone starts reading about Bitcoin and so on and so forth. Not really. That seems more like a normal times thing, not an end times thing. I don't think anybody's at home thinking like, how am I going to homeschool my kid while I'm reading all these books about Bitcoin? It's not, people don't really have extra time. Bitcoin's crash seen driven by long sought institutional buyers. Large owners likely accounted for 70% of exchange activity. That's right. The rich companies that we always wanted to come in and be Bitcoiners were the ones that dumped on us. When it went down 50%, it wasn't me or you, the itty bitty little holders that don't matter. It was the institutional buyers. So, how do you feel about that? Bitcoin rallies as Tether prints another 60 million USDT for the second day in a row.
We're the ones that.
Oh, somebody's talking from somewhere.
No, that was me. My bad. I was switching the chat up because
that's all right. It was scary. I was like, someone's inside the computer. They can hear me. Anyway, this is not the greatest thing for the whole Bitcoin price going up. If you really want to think about it, is probably because they're printing this Tether. They print the Tether. They use the Tether to buy the Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin goes up because somebody's buying it. Finally, damn it. Maybe it's these guys. So if you're a person that has to have an explanation for everything, you can't just enjoy a nice 10%, make that 11.44. Can we have 12? 12% rally? You can't enjoy that. Enjoy this Tether story.
Well, the Bitcoin's always got conspiracy theories floating around. So, they've got to have something while coronavirus is going on to talk about. But I think it's actually quite a good thing to happen to Bitcoin at this stage. If it makes it through, which we know it will, through the apocalypse, then it's going to the moon. But what is, I think, as a side effect, is going to be beneficial is the fact that there's going to be a lot more infrastructure put in place, building on like Blockstream satellites so that people can make transactions when their internet's cut off. So I think that a lot of that infrastructure is going to be really paddling underwater. Maybe global Bitcoin without phones and stuff. Just use, I don't know, like blow it to people or something, blow a transaction to people.
Well, it's not the first time I've referenced it, but you guys should go back and watch Dilbert, the animated series. It's probably on Netflix. They have a great episode where Dilbert screws up something and they lose all of their technology. Everything stops working and they go back to medieval times and they're all happy, like, hammering stuff and building things and having wheelbarrows and all that kind of thing. So check it out. Classic Dilbert, the TV show episode. You're like saying to yourself, they never made a Dilbert TV show. That's nonsense. I would have heard of such a thing. The internet tells me, blah, blah, blah. Well, surprise, they made a Dilbert TV show, and it didn't do well. It went out the first season, but I think it was on the UPN network, the United Paramount Network. I was a big fan back in the day. I watched all their opening programs because they had Star Trek Voyager. So, of course, they would give me a whole slate of other sci-fi and cool related programs. But that's not true. They just gave me a random bunch of sitcoms that all got canceled. But Voyager rules, UPN network, gone. Let's keep going. Checking out the spread of the virus. This is what happens if some people stay home. This is what we want. People need to stay home. This is what happens if everybody stays home. Everybody needs to stay home, not spread the virus. Those bouncing balls that are outside, that's you spreading the virus, getting the virus, spreading the virus to your friends. Stay the fuck home. Be like the balls, the blue balls. Stay home with your blue balls. And work on the ultimate medical hackathon. How fast can we design and deploy an open source ventilator? Are you a hardware hacker? Do you like to build things? This is your opportunity, as well as if you want to do anything else to get involved and help out with a worldwide crisis. You can do something positive. That would be better. Checking out
There's a
coronavirus
lot
cases.
of advice groups going around, like door to door. But if I've seen a few of them on the news reports, and none of them are wearing like protective gear, so they're essentially like going to vulnerable people, like knocking on their door without a mask or anything, and being like, "Do you want help? Are you vulnerable?" So it's probably pretty scary for them if they're not all masked up. So if you are going to help, take precautions.
Well, it was pretty sad. I saw a story on Fox News, and they were talking about this nice girl who's a college student who was helping out and bringing food to old people. And I was like, that's great. That's a nice thing. But at the same time, I was like, she's going to get sick. All of her people that bring them the food are going to get sick. The old people are probably going to get sick. Like, I'm just not hearing a lot of fear in these people. They were acting like it was like a food drive. They're like, the neighbor down the street, he's not feeling so well, so I made him some chicken soup. And then I went online and I told all my friends, I was like, we can all make chicken soup for the neighbor. And so we did it. And it's like, that's great. But like, we're in the middle of a crisis. Like, maybe you shouldn't be talking to like one college student. Maybe you should talk to someone more important, or some like epidemiologist or a scientist or something like that. So I fear that people are not getting good information on this, that they're not getting actionable information, that they're still doubting it. That's why I'm glad Dan's here, because Dan doesn't believe in it. So that's good to have Dan around. Also, other people in the chat, you believe in it a little bit.
Believe it. It's just that I like to try and remain calm, like in times of panic.
When I find myself in times of trouble.
Like no one says, right, okay, we need to figure out what we're gonna do. You don't go look at the most panicked people and be like, yes, we've got to do that. Like, you got to kind of, try and stay calm. But
but maybe you're not keeping up with current events, but we're getting our butt kicked out there. Like, I mean, we've got to really, like, as a human being, like, virus one, humans nothing. Like, if anything, we have minor victories in China, we have minor victories in South Korea, and even then we have this bizarre jingoist leader who doesn't want to follow what they did, doesn't want to go with what works. What works? Well, the crazy Chinese quarantine, holding everyone at home, building hospitals, that works. And the South Korean test everyone model, that works. You test everyone. You find the people with the weak cases. You find the people who aren't even that sick, and you isolate them so they don't get other people sick. What we're doing in America is everyone's like, oh, I got the weak case. Oh, I'm going to be fine. Oh, this thing. And you're like out there, you're one of those balls spreading it to everyone where you're like, I'm fine. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you're killing everyone. Speaking of killing everyone.
Casinos down, right, where you are.
So casinos are closed, and the price of Bitcoin is soaring. It's up 14.08%. That's a last of 6,179. Hodling was tough. It was a tough hodl this time.
Pissed off when they can't take money out of their bank, like is happening in a lot of places now. Limits being put on. So imagine how many people are sat at home going, oh shit, I can't take money out of the bank. So what am I going to do? Well, I use my electronic money to buy real money that I can manage myself in the form of Bitcoin.
Well, I think people are starting to look for an investment. This isn't quite a way out. This isn't like risking off. Like, the risk off people still have their cash. They're happy, right? But you got to think about that Kramer guy, that guy who needs action, right? He's out there juicing. He's like, what do they call it, that website? Seeking alpha, right? Alpha means change. Alpha means gain, right? Delta means change. Alpha means gains. They want gains, right? They want more money. So they're looking at this Bitcoin thing and they're like, boy, that's down a lot. That might even be down more than the stock market. I mean, the stock market's down 30%. The Bitcoin's down 50%. That means there's 20% of free money in there. And as we're up 15% right now, there's 5% left. I mean, like, even just to follow the market or to have a more lined up crash with the market. But we are seeing a possible Bitcoin recovery of some kind. Looking at the month chart. A month ago, it used to be $10,079. Seems pretty good. Now it's $6,224, $227. Not bad.
No bad at all.
But coronavirus cases in the U.S. are bad. Let's see if we refresh them. Yeah, they go up too. 10,816 cases, 161 deaths. It's continuing. It's been doubling. It took about 3 days to double the U.S. cases, 7 days to double the worldwide cases. Not good.
So what's the stores like near you as well? They have you done a Costco run recently? Seen something
No,
crazy.
the point of going to the store early is so you don't have to go to the store now. I'm pretty much out of the going to the store business or the going outside business. It's you don't get the benefit, and it's too bad. I mean, I had a fantastic banana this morning. It's the last banana in the world. So there it is. Very sad. But Western world, welcome to the rest of the world. Welcome to uncertainty, right? Uncertainty. Bitcoin.
What do you think of Trump's UBI type plan, though? Well, temporary UBI.
I generally think it's not enough. It's just not enough. It's only 1,000. I think we need 10,000. I think it's not going to be anything like enough. Look at right here, 17.25%. Bitcoin is up 6,351. High above the channel. If we look at the last big drop, the last previous support, that was around 6,064. So we should be, this chart doesn't seem to be properly updated, but we should be above this 6,100 level right about here, the previous drop. Before that, we were in the around 7,600s, even the 8,000s. Before that, we were at 10,000. So keeping an eye on the price of Bitcoin this morning as it's now up 16.7%.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Sadly, I got stopped out at the 50% drop the other day, and I was really cheesed off because I was going to hold that position forever. Just didn't see it dropping 52% in 48 hours or whatever it was. Savage, but I'm still happy to see the price go up as always. But it's not about the price; it's about the technology. So, try and in your quarantine time do something constructive and cool, like learn to code, read a Bitcoin book,
or as we're going to do right here, I think it's time to run the Federal Reserve. Let's see. Come on, Twitter.
Run the banks.
Where's the button? Here we go. The Fed, apply. Let's make that bigger. All right, this is a game about central banking. Thank you for your interest in the position of Chair of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. As the preeminent central bank and backbone of the world economy, we employ a rigorous hiring and screening process for all of our staff. Please tap or click below to begin. Are you ready, Dan? Are you ready to run the Fed?
Here we go. Shall I go there?
Start our application. Satoshi Nakamoto. Insider trading. Please enter the total amount of money you have insider traded in US dollars. 0. Embezzlement. Please enter the total amount of money you have embezzled in US dollars. 0 again. Please enter the total amount of bribes you have given or received in US dollars. Let's see. Received? No, still 0. Tax evasion. Please enter the total amount of taxes you have evaded in US dollars.
Are you scared that if you put in high numbers, they'll come busting through the window?
I think we're just sticking with 0 here. I think Satoshi Nakamoto is in the clean. I don't know how this bodes for our ability to run the Federal Reserve.
Hang on, it depends which Satoshi.
Which one? It could be Craig, right? Hi, Josh. Welcome to the show. But here we go.
Thank you very much.
We're going to push the button. Look, we're going to go gallery mode. Why isn't it showing me? I'm not even there. Hide video. Hide selfie. Oh, there we go. And now here it is. Drum roll. We're going to apply, see if we can run the Fed. Oh, after a extensive and lengthy review of your credentials and background, I would like to extend you a nomination to become the new Big League chair of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. Normally, the Senate is about to confirm you, but Mitch and I have been having some personal beef lately, so we'll call it good. Congratulations and good luck. Hey, we're running the Fed now. Nice. I accept. What the hell is this? In the Fed, you play as Chairman Nakamoto. Click or play the tap the dollar button. Use your spacebar to print $1. Use your money to buy printers from the store, which can help you print more money faster. Keep the CIA and the Donald happy by printing as fast as possible. This sounds promising. Oh, I printed $1. Okay, I'm going to print a lot of money. He says thank you to Kanye. He welcomes Satoshi as the Fed chair. You can't just hold it down. You have to really push it. So here we go. We'll just see if we can play this for a while, and we'll welcome Josh to the show. Josh, what are the conditions like in Germany there? We talked to Dan. People aren't freaking out enough in England. People aren't really freaking out enough here, although the governor of Nevada has taken action. And this is kind of soothing, printing all this money. Like, makes you feel good. I need to get some more things. Here we go.
Print away. Nice. Well, as things are heating up here, people are taking it seriously, definitely. But at the same time, it's a very segmented market. So, so some people are absolutely not taking it seriously. Some people are laughing at it. Some people are opening their car doors with their sleeves. So very careful. Yeah, it's really surreal. It feels surreal. In one way, I have these little mini doubts in my head. Like, is this real? Is this just, I don't know, the government's wanting to, really try to control everyone, like, to the nth degree? Or are people not taking this seriously enough? And then what went through my mind the other day, just to sort of segment from that with this lucid train of thought, was that, what if China was testing with SARS all this? Or what if Asia was, they were like, let's see our response time with these small ones, and now let's smash it with this. And the West will just not be able to take it seriously because we're so we're so freedom loving type people that we, the kids are like, yeah, I just want to party. I saw some kid like, oh, I don't care, I'm young, it won't affect me. Nothing's going to stop me from partying, like typical sort of, gringo type. And
I think we've got one of those. We're going to risk losing our ad rights. Hello to YouTube and the censors. But in the sake of fair use, this is from CBS News for educational purposes, and we're going to talk over it. But yeah,
at the end of the day, I'm not going to let it stop me.
They even have subs. Yeah.
We've been waiting for Miami spring break for a while. About 2 months we've had the strip playing. 2-3 months. So we're just out here having a good time. Whatever happens, happens.
Like, it's really messing up with my spring break. What is there to do here other than go to the bars or the beach, and they're closing all of it? It's really messing. I think they're blowing it way out of proportion. I think it's doing way too much.
Doing us bad. We need a refund. This virus ain't that serious. It's serious. It's more serious things out there like hunger and poverty.
You almost said cereal. It's not that cereal.
We planned this a long time
ago. Super cereal.
Up in the air if we still go, but like we're here. I just turned 21 this year,
20
so I'm here
year.
to party. So it's kind of disappointing. But we're just making the most of it. We met these other people in our little Airbnb spot, so we're just hanging out with them and trying to get drunk before everything closes.
Wow, this is pretty rough. America.
We're enjoying ourselves. It sucks, and I'm from New Orleans, so this really sucks. However, we're gonna enjoy ourselves. We having day parties all day. It's my birthday, St. Patrick's Day. Turn up.
We're just trying to roll with we're just living for the moment. We're just gonna do what happens when it happens. When stuff closes, we're gonna do it when it closes. But besides that, we're just trying to have the best trip we can.
So millennials been getting some bad rap off this, haven't they?
There you go.
The Boomer and Millennium Wars are they're rife, aren't they? It's crazy.
I know.
It's
right?
getting exciting, yeah.
On their spring break, they took our fun. Doo-doo-doo.
I know, they're pissed off. That's what they. You wondered how they'd react, what they do. They partied anyway. So
I want to hear from our audience, who's in the Jeff Berwick, Alex Jones camp. Think this is all a big fraud.
Oh, we got
and
those
who
people.
Thinks this is serious
and
important.
It's multi-layered. I mean, is it a fraud, like there's not a virus, or is it all a government conspiracy, like they planned the virus? So I don't know. I think it's pretty hard to say that there is no virus and that it's all a conspiracy and that all these things are overblown. But that's not to say that there aren't real threats and real things going on out here. I had this story right here. The guy basically outlines what he calls an Apollo program for bringing down the pandemic. And it all sounds great at first. He's like, social distancing is going to work a little bit, but not forever. And eventually we have to let people out again, and that's going to be a problem. There's going to be more new infections and all that. So then right down, he gets down to it. He says part of the plan, he says, is to use cell phone location data. Once a person tests positive, all the people who came into close contact with that person, communist, before the test results were available, as determined matching up location data, would be alerted to get tested and go into self-isolation. And that's only the way they're describing it now, but we all know that in reality, we really need fever teams to go around picking those people up by force. No one likes this. Everyone's getting upset in the chat now. And that's how this technology can be used. They're also saying that WhatsApp is a big problem because it's encrypted, so they don't know how people are talking about the virus, so they can't control the spread of information, real or false, about the virus. So this is now a reason to break encryption. So
yeah, I mean, this is I think it reminds me of, there was a Batman movie, I can't remember which one, but like Batman's, you know, he's like, we have to surveil everyone, and then, you know, the good guys are like, oh, but Batman, this is against everything we stand for, and we better not. And he says, it's only this one time, and it'll save everyone. And then of course they do it. Yeah, just this once, and then they do it, of course, and it saves the day. And you know, Batman's the hero, and all the people walk out of the cinema going, yeah, just this once, it's cool. I mean, of course, the thing is, in a free society, I think Asia has had their hand burned. They've gone like, ooh, that's a hot candle. Ooh, better not do that. Let's get prepared for next time there's a candle. Africa, hand burnt. Let's get prepared. Africa are very hard to get prepared because their economy, like when I say Africa, the countries in Africa, especially West Africa, who went through the Ebola, they had a really tough time because their economy just can't handle what our economies can. But basically, what the West has really never had to handle this sort of thing since World War II. So the millennials, as you can see, they're just like, yeah, whatever. I'll burn. So they need to burn their hands to then go, okay, in a free society, when we have these sort of there's an outbreak, people are dying in the hospitals. Here's footage of overrun hospitals. Can you please just stay inside? And everyone will take it more seriously next time. I think we in the West will suffer a lot of deaths, and it's just how it is because no one's taking it. I mean, there's a segment of people that aren't taking it seriously. And then next time we will be more serious about it. But I feel that it's really important not to lose our liberties either and throw them away and throw away encryption and everything. We just need to deal with our dogmas, our ignorance, and stuff, and try to do better next time. We need to burn our hands, basically.
Well, you know, if you go down the things must stop being encrypted route, like surely. That means the workplace chats should also be, and all the like associated workplace stuff should be unencrypted and viewable by the government, and there should be no privacy anywhere because there's always going to be people where finding places to chat. You know, if it's not going to be WhatsApp, it's going to be somewhere else that is private. That's what people do. You know, they're always trying to hide, not for bad reasons, just because they want their privacy. They don't want to have everything, you know, recorded and their every move watched. But at the same time, it's not as bad as like in South Park where they've got he does like Cartman does a tour of the NSA, and he's walking through and they're like, sir, like this just absolutely endless telephone people, and he's like, sir, Janie wants to go to the mall at 3, but her dad won't let her and her mum will. What do we do? And he's like, keep an eye on her. It's not kind of like that, but at the same time, you don't want your privacy, invaded by orange dots.
But that said, we want to win, right? We want to beat this virus, right? Like, as a human, I want humanity to go on. Now, they're already talking about it on the markets, and they're starting to get to it. They're like, wait a minute, if people can't go to work, they can't make new widgets. If they can't make new widgets, then we're not going to meet our earnings where we told you we'd sell all those widgets. And that means that our next earnings or our futures or our growth or whatever, it's going to be down. So they're starting to realize that society might not run anymore, and that, beating this virus might be bigger than society. And again, that's how all the sci-fi horror movies start, right, Josh? I mean, we're both like, the virus is real. We need to save humans. I also agree with what you're saying about rights and encryption, as well as cell phone data and all the other things, WhatsApp, all these other things. So I think we're on both, and it's another where, there's a virus. There's definitely a virus, and this might be a plan they had on the shelf that they're ready to go with, but at the same time, we need to do whatever we need to do to fight and destroy the virus. So it's one of those things where
shoot the virus, Americans. Go on, Americans.
They're stocking up on guns. They seem to think toilet paper is going to have some kind of effect. I'm surprised at the complete lack of creativity. I guess Jimmy Kimmel, Colbert, Fallon, they're all sent their writers home, and they're all working from home, which is great. Yeah. But the only joke that there seems to be that's acceptable to tell about the COVID virus or about coronavirus seems to be toilet paper. Every single, like everywhere I go, I'm like, this is the same joke, guys. Like, I mean, you're professional writers. I mean, and it's like, oh, we saw this on the internet about toilet paper. And it's just so funny. Yeah. It's like, no, it's not. Like, it's kind of funny. People are hella stupid. They're buying toilet paper. Like, I get it. Like, I laugh at dumb people too. It's great. But what about the joke part? And no, that doesn't seem to be there. So.
It's like the South Park. You're a gay fish.
Well, just because you like fish sticks doesn't mean you're a gay fish. So I mean,
yeah, you just like gay. You just like fish sticks. Yeah, it's that joke, and then everyone just gets obsessed by it. I love fish sticks. Yeah,
he loves
fish you're
sticks.
A gay fish.
He must be a gay fish.
Honey, now you telling me you sure you're not a hobbit? You got just because she got long scraggly hair and big hairy feet, and girl, you sure you're in a hobbit?
Chewbacca is a Wookiee. Wookiees come from Endor, so you must have quit.
No. So what's your favorite, like the coronavirus? What's the myth or conspiracy theory?
But my one, I mean, the weirdest ones I've seen is that this sort of amalgamation of multiple conspiracy theories, like that it's created with the 5G. And the 5G has something to do with the coronavirus, and that it's sort of, people that have more 5G. So Italy rolled out way more 5G than anyone else, and that's why they've got it so hard.
And Wuhan was the center of 5G in China. They had 5G. That's confirmed. Yeah.
I'm not going to let this stand by of good internet. Like, hopefully 5G really isn't the problem.
Yeah.
So, I like the 5G one. I like where Josh is going. I like the combinations. There was the Pizzagate. Well, first of all, there's probably an evil pedophile conspiracy. Let's just put that to the side. But Pizzagate probably wasn't it. But now that Pizzagate idea has been combined with this. And there's a big, long list. A guy sent me a big thing, and he was like, Oprah and Harvey Weinstein ratted on all of them, and something else, and they're all going to suicide or some kind of thing, and everyone's a secret pedophile, and it's all related to COVID and the coronavirus. And I was like, no, I'm just not seeing it. It's not like.
And it was the US created an anti-vax program, and this is part of it, apparently. Is that? I think that's the same kind of.
It all links together, and pretty soon people are afraid of the vaccine as much as they're afraid of the virus.
Yeah, Emily wants to add that she says, what are they wanting to divert people's attention from? That's the big question. That's what the conspiracy is, that they're diverting from something bigger.
I don't know. I don't think there could be anything bigger than this. I think it's been serious the whole time, and the America thing's been in denial. I think I got some of my new articles here. Here's another article. This is a news from the NPR. This is audio we're going to play for fair use for news purposes. We're going to comment on it and talk over it. But this was weeks ago. Senate Chairman of the Intelligence Committee speaking to a private audience. not to the
NPR
public,
has obtained
so.
a secret recording taken 3 weeks ago. You're going to hear the voice of Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman Richard Burr, Republican in the Senate. You're going to hear him warning a private audience about how the coronavirus would impact the United States.
There's one thing that I can tell you about this. It is much more aggressive in its transmission than anything that we have seen in recent history. It's probably more akin to the 1918 pandemic.
More akin to the 1918 pandemic is what you heard him say there. This was a stronger message than most Americans were hearing at that time. And Burr's comments raise questions about why an audience at a lunch on Capitol Hill would get what seemed to be a more frank assessment than the general public. NPR's Tim Mak is the one who got his hands on this recording and is with us this morning. Hi, Tim.
Hey there.
Okay, so who was the senator speaking to in this clip, and where'd the tape come from?
Well, the luncheon was organized by the Tar Heel Circle, which consists of businesses and organizations from North Carolina, the state that Senator Burr represents. Membership in the Tar Heel Circle costs between $500 and $10,000. Burr was talking candidly about his assessment of how about.
Go ahead, Josh.
I just want to quickly add. Hang on, my little girl is screaming away. There she is. She's being taken away by her mother.
Oh.
Good. All right. So, what I wanted to add was that why is everyone obsessed with authority? Like we are in the information age. Just because some idiot in a nice comb over and some glasses and a tie says something doesn't mean it's either truthful or fake. It's just another opinion. I mean,
well, but the issue here is he was saying one thing in public and he was saying another thing in private. So he was being untruthful. So the problem is that it looks like the senator was giving important inside information to the insiders who paid anywhere from $500 to $10,000 to be a member of the Tar Heel Club, that they're getting a better deal than normal American citizens. So no, it seems like this senator who's on the Intelligence Committee, who has access to special information, valuable information, it seems like he's taking something from the people that's of value, then he's giving it to some people, but not other people, based upon how much money they paid. That seems to be the problem with this. It's not a question of authority or whether I believe this guy, or if only a senator had told me, I would have bought more cans of beans. No, it's the question of this senator in particular, as well as how many others, because who knows what the Trump administration was briefed on. Who knows what they're saying while Jared Kushner's telling him to say it's nothing and to go out there. The rest of them are selling their portfolios. The rest of them are buying a bunch of shorts. Like they're leveraging the market. Like this is insider trading. This is, one problem we have the virus. The other problem we have, did people try to profit off this virus? Did people try to control the information about this virus? Did people not tell their constituents? Clearly, why is he saying this? He's not just reading a history book about the Spanish flu. He's gotten a report that says it's going to be as bad as the Spanish flu. This guy's never heard of the Spanish flu. He's not reading, I was reading an influenza magazine yesterday. Oh, it's such a big problem. No, this is this is an information deficit. They had information. We didn't. Not that, we would have bought toilet paper 2 weeks earlier. I mean, it wouldn't have changed that much. But if the American people had been alert and engaged, maybe we'd get this testing sooner. Maybe we'd realize that you have to test everybody. They're only saying we couldn't do testing because they bollocksed it. I mean, we have to go back to the WHO, get those tests back, which we finally did. We have to open it up for private companies to run tests. And we have to test everybody. That's how South Korea smashed the curve. No one's saying this. The government's not saying. We don't have a central response here. I mean, in Germany, you still have Angela Merkel. She closed the borders to Germany. She closed the borders to the EU. She's shutting down businesses. I mean, you have a leader. In Nevada, we have a leader statewide. Governor Sisolak has closed all non-essential business. He closed all casinos. All gambling machines must be off as of a few nights ago. And this is how we're going to stop the spread of the virus. And it's not fun, and it's not exciting, and it's creepy, sure. But the longer we wait, the more it spreads. If we don't do it, then it spreads. And, I mean, we're going to have massive deaths either way. And one of the things that I think we should do at the end of this is have ourselves a little trial. Have ourselves a little Nuremberg action. America forgot. after the Iraq War. They forgot after the War on Terror that we can go back and read about what people did. And if they burn down a village, we can say that's wrong. We can sometimes even punish them if they're still alive. So this guy right here, Senate Intelligence Chairman, who's saying things in private, saying different things in public, doesn't seem very patriotic to me. So doesn't seem like an American to me. Doesn't seem like, you know.
It's definitely dodge, you know, information that the public should have, you know, giving it to the elites instead. You know, saying one thing to the public and giving it to elites is awful, I think, especially paying. But I do think that sometimes stemming the flow of information is good from stemming the flow to the hospitals and all the other stuff as well, and the shops, because imagine if you let too many people know to what, well, saying, you know, not just the rich.
I'm totally in agreement with you. I think that when he had his private government meeting, when they were going over the documents that told him about the Spanish flu, that's when they were not supposed to spread it. That's the private meeting. That what we have here is that, yeah, he's not spreading it publicly, maybe because he thinks there'd be a panic. But he chose to spread it privately, which is a real big problem. So,
to paid guests.
Yeah, it was a good deal. Come on. But yeah, let's see what else we got out here. I love that video with the kids that are still going to party. That was a really good one.
Yeah, I saw a video of spring break and the beach is like just absolutely packed.
Oh,
well, this is one thing I'm worried about in Germany here, because we get hocked up inside all winter, and the Germans, at the first glance of sun, they're out in droves on all the parks, nude. You know, they'll be nude with masks maybe, but it's you know, I really think they cannot help themselves. They will be out. They'll probably be spaced perfectly 1.5 meters apart, like good Germans, but. It's going to be very, very hard, and you know, kids getting cabin fever and running around driving the parents nuts globally. Amazing. One thing I want to have a look at the good side of this whole thing. Might be that schooling might change forever. I mean, the parents might realize that that online education is just far better, because you can choose really good courses in whatever interests your child, that's going to keep them you know, glued to the course and doing it. And maybe it'll change the entire education system.
Yeah, so I can't remember who it was that mentioned it, but they said that, like, I think in fact, if Josh, it might have been yourself, like, teachers will be like rock stars of the future, because in a decentralized world where people want to pick the best education, you'll have the best teachers, the best tutors, the best people that can provide that, you know, education being accessed by a shed load more people rather than small, you know, isolated classes. So, you know, they're going to end up rocking the money in, because a good teacher, a good learner, a good tutor is you know, is going to be
worth their weight.
Yeah,
and like
you guys are erring on the bright side of the at-home learning. I'm not so sure. I think that Josh's idea at a best plan, at a best scenario, they have months and months and months to plan the course. I think that's the effect of online learning. What they've said is actually planning the courses is really difficult. And what we've done is kind of a hodgepodge. They had this lady on the news the other night. She was a teacher, and they showed what she was up against. And, you know, I've got you two guys here on Zoom. Imagine if we had 8 little windows or 16 little windows, all of unhappy children, all going like this. Oh, I have to be at my desk all day. Oh, the teacher's watching me. The class is watching me. All these unhappy kids. And what she's saying is that she realized immediately that discipline is out, that she can't control the class anymore. Controlling the class is out. Let's just go, you know, teach through it, hope they get something out of it. This crazy 16-box reality that they're living in now. The teacher's not prepared for this. Teacher's stressed out. All those things. I think what this thing's really doing.
She might need to make the classes engaging for the first time, maybe.
Well, that's a special skill and a talent. I mean, they might not They might not all have that.
Good point, though,
I mean, it's going to
because
be
it would take a lot to set up, but once it's there, it can be made a lot more interactive. Rather than because I found that most of my classes anyway in school were kind of a bit of. It was difficult to stay awake for a lot of stuff. It's the practical stuff that actually was the useful things that was actually a practical use. So I think it would be a cool idea, but obviously it doesn't open the doors to like the whitewashing of evolution again, and homeschooling kind of being done probably in a more religious way that would give warped perspectives.
Now you can teach the children whatever you want. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think what it's really doing is it's laying bare all of the facades that we put up in our society. This really happened for me when the most prominent institution in the United States, the one who runs above our government, the National Basketball League, when they shut down basketball, when they unilaterally took the decision to protect their players above the rest of America and their workers and so forth, they are really the leaders now in our world. And at the same time, basketball also had an important thing it was doing. It was distracting everyone, right? Everyone who didn't want to learn about politics is into basketball. They're into sport ball, whatever you want to call it. And all of that's gone. And everybody who didn't want to learn about politics and didn't want to learn about what was going on in the world, they're into entertainment. They're into movies. I myself, I like movies. That's all gone. Like, the new movies aren't filming. They're not going to release the movies they have in the can. They're going to put them on direct to video. Same thing, video games, books, any kind of entertainment you want. Pretty much it's on hold, plays, musicals, anything that you like that distracts you from the reality of what the world is. The brutal Buddhist reality, like the base layer, the command line, right? All life is suffering. Things are hard. You start out young, everything's good. You get old and it sucks. Like, this happens to everyone on the earth, and we all do things to avoid it. We don't want to live in this reality. We want to, again, we're already in a simulation, but we build other simulations on top of this simulation to distract us from the simulation, right? All our distractions are gone.
It's a crazy world. Bread and circuses is what you're talking about there. Bread and circuses. Give them a little bit of drinks and entertainment.
Well, but that's the negative government way. I mean, I think there's an actual way where people just delude themselves because they can't accept it, because they can't accept the actual reality of being in these decaying physical bodies, yet being some kind of weird electrical spark brain thing. Like, no one really wants to talk or think about that. They all say, that's too serious. That's too much. You're getting deep and metaphysical. This is nonsense. But with this killer virus out in the street, and the only reality to stay home, and all of our beautiful political theories being put to the test because the virus doesn't care. The virus doesn't care if you think it's a slippery slope. The virus doesn't care if you think we shouldn't do this or we shouldn't do that. It's up to the epidemiologist. It's up to that's my name, by the way, whatever it is. It's the person who fights viruses. It's up to them now. And hopefully the government's listening to them. And hopefully the military is listening to them. And whoever's going to actually run this thing into the ground. Because otherwise, we don't even get to come back. We don't even get to see if there's a consumer demand for BMWs. We just get to go down and then go to that Dilbert thing. We all get to make widgets in the street or whatever. So,
Silent Lamb. Sorry.
I was just going to say, there's loads of cool projects like that would be kicked off like about now. It's the perfect opportunity for anyone that's decided that they want to write a bit of code or kind of do anything constructive. Probably a lot of home improvement stuff as well, like getting paint in. It's a perfect time when quarantining to build and do something cool. So it's going to be productive period.
I think there's also going to be a hell of a lot of divorces and a hell of a lot of new babies.
Yeah,
you're going to get the coronials. They're going to, the coronials. They're the next baby boomers. That's the coronial generation, and it's going to be huge.
I'm not optimistic for them. I think they're going to be the ones that want to stay inside, the ones that want to wear their headphones all the time, the ones that prefer virtual experience, having been brought up in this post-virus society. where
So when you're
everything's
on,
afraid of
on Zoom,
everything.
surely like companies like that are gonna do pretty well out of this.
Oh yeah, Zoom's gone up, but for every Zoom, there's entire industries that are wrecked. The cruise industry is wrecked. The airplane industry is wrecked. The hotel industry is wrecked. They're saying they're gonna have to bail out Hilton and Marriott. So if you can imagine the two towers of hotels everywhere you go, every big city, there's a Hilton, there's a Marriott. They're big, fancy,
They're all going to be
expensive.
Trump. They're all going to be Trump.
All
now.
gonna be
my
Trump
word.
now. In the future, all hotels are Trump.
Oh, it's
So-
going to be more global than McDonald's.
Definitely the way. But meanwhile, we're keeping an eye on the price of Bitcoin. Seems to be up about 16% today, with a last of
Olé.
6,283, a high of 6,349, and a low of 5,200. So hodling's working out so far,
Yeah.
at least today.
A whole 1,000. You know, we waited like 8 years or 7 years for it to reach 1,000, and we did 1,000 in a day today. So
In a day.
it's definitely very, very crazy. We are seeing also on Voltoro where, you know, we're dealing in the physical gold markets, and this is a really amazing time to watch because the physical gold markets are separating from the paper gold markets. It's almost impossible to buy physical right now. In fact, Voltoro is probably one of the few places left, and Bar9 to trade in physical, because there was like lineups around the stores for weeks now here, the gold stores, people buying gold, and now they've been ordered to shut their doors, as all shops have been ordered. So, and this is going on globally, where gold is extremely hard to get hold of or to sell or to buy. So online solutions like ours are really starting to be an interesting thing, which I find fascinating, because as people move more and more online, they are going to want to protect themselves from this banking thing that's happening. And that's the other thing so Bitcoin, I think, will start to head back up as we start. And this is what I said last time I was on the show, Thomas, is that Bitcoin and gold don't survive very well in the moment of the crash, because everyone's selling everything to find liquidity to bail themselves out of other problems that are deeper. So they'll sell all their gold to, like, you know, stop short positions, long positions that they've got, or they'll, you know, it's the market's crazy. Where gold and Bitcoin really shine is in the aftermath, when the governments put, you know, things like every American is going to get $2,000.
I only heard 1,000.
Did you? Yeah.
I want
well,
2,000.
that happens if they're going to go back through everyone's social media, and if you wrote "not my president," then
Oh, according to our online poll at Mad Bitcoins, is the current plan for $1,000 stimulus enough? 74 people voted. 87% say no. 87% say $1,000 is not enough.
What is enough?
Yeah, like, I don't think it's a difficult thing to judge, but
Well,
you know,
it's time to show you America's new
you're gonna want
favorite
more.
meme.
I have $1,000 when you can try and squeeze out $3,000, or, you know. But I think it's great. I think it's actually quite a cool idea. If they're going to print money, don't put it into bonds and stuff, but like give it to the people, and that $1,000 will be used by someone to, I don't know, to buy a car, which the person who got the money from buying a car was able to pay someone else, and you know it's taxable 100 times in the year or whatever. It seems like a much better solution than just printing money and giving it to the people that caused the last crash. In fact, it's a dumb idea.
Yeah, I mean, I agree to an extent. The problem is that, you know, it goes down to the question, well, how much is enough, right? So you give 2,000, you give 3,000, you give 4,000. The problem is the more you give, the more everything goes up in price as well. In the long run. In the short term, it's really good, and it'll save everyone last, and everyone will be like, oh, thank God. But it'll take a little while, not too long, probably maybe 6 to 8 months, and you'll start to see milk triple the price and things like this, and that will really, really hurt.
Well, although, do you think? Because if I think for me, the it would seem more fitting that once you gave out your stash of cash, you did your shitcoin airdrop, that money would just keep on recirculating. But so the businesses that were able to,
I think what they're saying online, they keep fighting back against me, and what they're saying is that the velocity of money would change, so that when people deposit it in their bank accounts, it multiplies, right? Because the bank accounts are big money multipliers. So it isn't just the money you're putting in; it's the money that you're putting in that it creates. So it creates all this extra money, and then it creates all this inflation.
We could cap the fractional reserve part a bit, right? Like, we could.
Actually, they've gone the other way, and banks are not required to have any reserve right now. No reserve at all. There's no reserve requirement in the United States at all right now because of the crisis. In general, it wasn't very much anyway.
I'm with Doug. Don't give it to the banks. Jeez. Just them.
No, I agree. I agree. If you're going to print money, if you're going to bail something out, then bail out the people. Don't bail out huge companies that are just messing with you and have been, because the people will bail out the companies that they like the most with that money anyway. They'll go and spend at that place. If they're adding value to society, they'll go and rescue it. I'll go spend it at my favorite cafe.
It's like the best possible way that you could distribute the money as well, because so many people will use it in so many different ways. Like, almost everything would be impacted positively.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got 66 people watching. We've got 24 likes. So be sure to like this video. We have about a 1/3 ratio. We'd like to see more of a 50% ratio, or if possible, even a 2/3 ratio would be pretty good. I think YouTube judges you by how much people like the video. So if you're not liking it, you're actually disliking it. So your vote is counted.
Let's go on a full-on like session. Ready? I'm gonna like this video right now. Where am I?
Already liked it.
All right, I liked it. I got it.
Come on, everyone. Let's do a big like fest.
The video.
It's up to 27, and this is a live like counter that you can see on the screen, so you'll be able to see
if we get enough
your
likes,
on the screen.
We will be with you throughout the apocalypse.
Exactly.
This is the last data.
Yeah, we need to up our game here if we're gonna last through the virus. And sadly, our game is liking videos. They don't have a elbow bump yet. You still have to put your dirty thumb up there and show the video who's boss.
All right. Yeah.
We could also want to welcome in some callers. If you'd like to call us, you can call us on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word.
Thanks, Roy.
Skype works all over the world. You can use any kind of Skype in any kind of country. Or if you want to call us on the phone, we have a United States number. So if you do +1 or +001 or something like that, it'll let you call 1-518-600-1949. We're still connected to the phone network. We're still connected to the Skype network so far. I think Skype and Zoom, as Josh was saying, getting a lot more traffic with the home education and with the home business that's being run. I love that tweet I saw yesterday. The guy said, as a hacker, this is actually great for me. It used to be only 30% of people had network access from home. Now it's going to go up to like 70 to 90%. So tons more targets.
There's going to be a huge problem with security, because a lot of these people are going home, they're logging into their networks at work, allowing very, very insecure connections to very important information that can be used. They're also opening themselves up to crypto lockers and all sorts of stuff like that. So I think we're going to see a massive spike in divorces, in babies, and in crypto lockers.
But we can't make any money off any of that stuff. Maybe you could go out to the prediction market, Josh, and put some money on divorce or something, some kind of a bet on the rate. But
is August still about? Is that's
it's still about. Okay.
So the Bitcoin hash rate has for the last couple of days it's stayed under 100 exahash, so it's down about 35%. But I think I mentioned the other day, actually, word on the street is that it's gonna that's a lot of it. Apparently, Chinese sort of miners have been selling equipment to where the electricity is a lot cheaper, and that's places in Russia at the moment as well. So especially, all year round, cold temperatures to reduce the amount that's spent on aircon and heating. So I think it's not terrible that the hash rate's dropped. Obviously, 35% from the last month is a reasonable amount, but let's face it, it's still like the most secure system on Earth by an absolute ding dong.
An absolute ding dong. You heard it here, folks. You heard it first on the World Crypto Network.
That's also another positive if it's helping decentralize Bitcoin. It's spreading those machines out into other countries. So win-win, right? Let's go and let's see what's been happening on Twitter. It's been 23 hours or so since we were here yesterday.
23 hours since we were here yesterday.
Every other word on CNBC is flatten the curve. A word might be getting out. People are learning. They're going to stay home. There was a major series of tweets from Bill Ackman. I've never heard of him, but CNBC was really impressed. He says, and he was talking directly to the president as well as the rest of the country, that the only answer is to shut down the country for the next 30 days and close the borders. Tell all Americans that you're putting us on an extended spring break at home with family. Keep only essential services open. The government pays wages until we reopen. And he says that you have to send everyone home for spring break, close the borders, the infection rate will plummet, the stock market will soar, and the clouds will lift. We need your leadership now. What do you guys think of Mr. Ackman's spring break plan for the U.S.? Josh first.
I mean, flatten the curve, flatten it.
Well, but it's not just flatten. I mean, there'd be a top-down action by the central government, the bringer of force, the evil of evils, right? They would be taking action, which they haven't done anything. Like the thing we did in Nevada, we did that voluntarily. We did that by our choice. We may have bankrupted the casinos, Yeah,
Trump really doesn't want to shut down, say that he wants things to shut down. He wants people to kind of do it voluntarily.
But what this guy is saying is that it's one of those counterintuitive things that only by shutting down can you reopen.
Well, this is one thing I've said of the Bitcoin community for a very long time, is that we need to self-regulate, because as soon as we do not do that, as soon as we don't have proper regulations for ourselves that we follow and are best practices, and that people say, guess what, we've got this voluntary stamp and these regulations are what we follow as an exchange, and whatever. If we don't do that, and then someone gets hacked or big Mt. Goxes happen, then the state comes in and goes, right, with their superhero costumes on in full bore, and they say, we'll save the day, and they'll create really draconian rules and regulations rather than ones that we think are sensible. And so I think it's really important that people, they take this virus seriously, because the government will come down with draconian measures if you guys don't voluntarily do it.
Do you still want martial law, Tom?
Martial law, I think we need the National Guard. I think we need the Army Corps of Engineers. They need to be building those hospital units, the ventilators. I think we need all hands on deck. I don't think that we have that. I don't think that people are taking it seriously still. It's horrible because it's a human thing. We're not acting logically. It's gonna, like Josh is taking, it's gonna take an emotional shock. What is it gonna take for them to get knocked off? 50,000 dead, 100,000 dead, United States alone. Which again, 2 weeks. Give it 2 weeks. Mark it right now. Let's see. Today is the 19th. So 2 weeks. We'll be into April. And it's going to be worse. It's doubling every 3 days. It's doubling worldwide every 7 days. Like,
it's too brutal to use the magic 8 ball right now to come up with a prediction.
Oh, prediction on the dead? Oh, no. We can't predict the dead with
on
the
dead. No, I'm talking about number of infections.
I don't think we have to. I mean, I think that we can, and I can tell you the 8 ball is slightly slanted towards yes. So if you wanted to answer the question, probably you should say answer a yes question.
Let's flip it on his head.
So, but no, I mean, I don't think that the 8 ball is going to help us now. I mean, I think it's just one of those things. Like it's in the system. People are the spring break people. Like these are, your average American is a lot more like these spring break people than they are like you Bitcoiners. And this is why it's been so hard to convince these people to get into Bitcoin.
At the end of the day, I'm not going to let it stop me from
all these other kind of things, because at the end of the day, he's not going to let it stop him from partying. You know, he's had this trip planned for 2-3 months. We're out having a good time. Whatever happens, happens. That's America right there. So no, these people don't understand the virus, and they're getting the reports in now. I don't know if they're truthful or not, but the reports are saying more and more young people are being affected by this. The early reports that it was only old people that made everybody feel invincible are either not true, or they're softening them now because of the worldwide effect. But no, it's much worse than we thought, much worse than we can think. And it's too bad, because it's a beautiful day outside. It's a nice world. There's all kinds of fun stuff we could be doing and fun places we could be going. And even I, who likes staying home and reading books, I'm getting tired of it. And we barely even started. So again, I got plenty left. But I remember the outside world, and I remember it fondly. So
I saw a quote that was that made me think and made me feel sad, because I thought, oh, this is exactly the same. But it was like, oh, I've just found out that what I've been living for the last 6 years has been called quarantine.
I know. Apparently, as a computer geek, I was struck down with quarantine a long time ago, and like I was forced to stay home so many times.
We have a comment from Takforat that he thinks that the shutdown should have happened 2 months ago, and the virus has already established itself in the population. The thing is, you don't even need to shut down. If you guys have acted, or every country actually, but especially America's really behind the eight ball, would have tested early on, like South Korea did. I mean, Germany as well. Every Western country, they should have test, and separated or isolated the ones that show up positive, because in that way, you don't need to shut down society, because you're testing everyone every day or every few days, and you have a control over it. What happens is, once it gets past a certain stage, like we're at now, we have over 10,000 cases here. I think we're at 12,000 something. That's more than South Korea now in Germany. So once we're at that stage, we're past the testing stage now. It's just like, well, if you're sneezing and you're shivering and heating up, then start and coughing, then stay home and eventually get to hospital when you can't breathe anymore.
Yeah, that's a common thing I've heard, is that it's that we've seen from multiple experts and trying to get a consensus, trying to avoid just appeals to specific authority. But testing's good right at the beginning, and it's good like at the end. But in the middle, when it's chaos, and I think they know now it's chaos, then the testing is you just can't keep up with it, because you'd be testing someone. You could go out and get your test, like an MOT. You get your MOT for your car, like in the UK. You go get your tires checked, and they say your car's totally fine, and then the next day, like you get a puncture and they rip the tire, and then your car's not drivable. So your test was only valid for a day. And I think that's kind of what they're saying with the tests as well, because it spreads so easily. That you can get a test and then straight away.
Yep, test, drive up, test, swab of the tongue, boom, done. And this could have been done. The US spends an absolute amazing amount of money on protecting themselves from terrorists. And really, the amount of people killed by terrorists is so small. It's ludicrously small. And yet they haven't spent any money just stocking up simple things like giving every American 10 masks or whatever, or 5 masks even. Nothing. Like you don't even have enough masks for doctors. And funnily enough, Germany did a deal in February to sell all the masks for a trade deal to some other country. This is what I heard. I need to confirm this. If someone can find some references to this, because someone told me this 2 months before. And a month before the outbreak in Wuhan, Angela Merkel was in Wuhan, and she was talking at a factory, one of the car factories there, talking about how great globalization is, and then the first cases that were in Germany were from that factory that had come back. So there wasn't through Angela Merkel, but some of the other workers had a conference call over in Germany, and this was early on, but yeah, interesting.
Trump tried to be like, yo, German manufacturers, how about we come to a deal and you sell us all of your like stuff, you sell us everything, ventilators and all that, but just keep it between us. He was a cheap sausage.
The art of the deal.
I can't deny, I want someone like that fighting for me, like in a terrible way. You're kind of like, well, at least he's
Well, they say that story is not true, but the alleged story is that Trump went to the maker of some kind of vaccine and said he wanted to buy all of it for America, and the vaccine maker was German, and they're like, no, we want some for the German people, plus we're going to make it for the whole world. I don't know. I think the vaccine maker just wanted some PR. It seems like really good PR for them, because they're going to fight for the whole world. They're not just going to sell out to Trump. Meanwhile, other people are probably selling out. So.
We have the CFDs on gold. They've pretty much wiped out all the gains since December of 2019 now. Meanwhile, the physical markets on golds are up like crazy. Like people are charging like 50% on top of spot in the Krugerrands and things like this gold. The physical markets are amazing. It's amazing to watch because, as we can see, the futures markets and such are so easy to sell. It's like one click, boom, and you've like dumped a whole lot. The other thing is, and we talked about this on the show last time, is that what I find interesting with the gold markets, because it's kind of correlates, I find, quite closely with the Bitcoin lovers, is that we're dealing here with rare numbers and rare metals. So it's interesting in this time of abundant printing that we have this bank that holds pretty much a lot of the gold that is accessible by the stock markets. So the GLD, which is held by HSBC, and what happens when this bank starts to shake. And I have got a video coming out on that. I'm just editing it at the moment to give more advice on that. But it's an interesting story, and I think people should be definitely keeping an eye on the GLD as because it could be used to bail out a certain bank that is the custodian of that.
I read something, sorry, slight segue, but I read something really interesting yesterday. I've been watching a few of the Spanish flu kind of documentaries, trying to level up on previous pandemics. And did you know that from this video, I've seen a few others, and it's not quite, I haven't quite kind of made my conclusions. But what they do all confirm is that the first cases of Spanish flu were actually in Kansas on a military base. But then it got the name of Spanish flu because months later it spread there really, really quickly. So maybe Trump probably wouldn't like to hear that. But apparently first cases were in Kansas.
They also said that the Spanish were the only ones who would talk about the flu. That in the American newspapers they weren't talking about the flu at all. They weren't reporting on it. It was only being reported on in the Spanish press. So it was labeled the Spanish flu. Also, because things were labeled something like 100 years ago, doesn't mean that it's a good justification for labeling things now. Trump was back then we used to call it after the location, so it's fine, like an Oriental rug. Now you're an Oriental person. Like, I mean, it's like,
whatever else they said.
Well, I think that's the problem. And people are like, I've seen the response on Twitter, and people are like, we shouldn't even care about this, and who even cares if the president's a horrible racist? And we have bigger problems right now, right? Like, so he's old fashioned, he uses the L word or the J word or the B word or whatever the word is, he's from another time, they used to talk that way. But I think, unfortunately, I have to side with the PC people here. And I have to say that it is important because it's a slippery slope. If the
Yeah.
president says Chinese flu, then somebody else says Wuhan flu, then somebody else says Kung flu, and then somebody else on the street beats up a Chinese or an Asian person or just a random person that looks like this person. Like, that's where we're going with this, is that unfortunately the stupidest people in our society hear these dog whistles of these minor inappropriate, like it's a minor inappropriate for him to say it. It's an old fashioned. It's like, he's from another age. Oh, ha, ha, it's fine. But it drifts. That's the problem.
Oh yeah,
so
it's bad.
I
Like,
mean,
you shouldn't. And there's been a lot of reports of like Chinese. I'm not sorry, I don't even laugh, but it's like Chinese. And I'm laughing at how fickle people are. They're suddenly like Chinese restaurants and Chinese Italian restaurants. Everyone's like swarming away from them. Running as far as they can. And you're like, come on, guys! Like, it's not like every single Chinese person has the virus. Not every single Italian person has the virus.
I agree. Well, one of the
crazy.
insider tips when people are stocking up was to go to the Asian food markets, because they have lots of food and they have lots of sauce, and no one was going there because they're a bunch of racists and they're afraid of the Asian flu coming from the Asian store. I mean, I guess partially maybe it makes sense on some kind of level, but on another level, I think that's a great place to get some rice, so.
That's exactly what I did, Thomas. I went into the Asian supermarket, bought big, fuck off kilo bags of rice, and for my family, because they were all laughing at me. Then so I had to not only buy for my family, but the extended family and my parents. I just had to buy for everyone because they were all laughing at me at that stage. Actually, yeah, but what I find interesting, and I thought this is kind of interesting, that the earliest people I started seeing talking about this were early Bitcoiners. There's something about people that are early Bitcoiners that recognized this pandemic a lot earlier than everyone else, and was capable of dealing with the ridicule that was coming along by warning people at that stage. Because I was not only getting laughed at, I was getting angry. Really, people were angry at me when I'd bring it up. They'd be like, "Oh no, don't even talk about it." Like they're angry. They just didn't want to hear it, and they started taking it seriously only when it started getting more and more hype on the news. And so what my conclusion is, and let us know in the chat after you've hit that like button, what do you guys think? Is it because Bitcoiners or early Bitcoiners understand exponentiality a lot better than the common person? Because normal people really don't understand exponentiality. They don't understand how quick these things happen. Maybe this is my guess that there's sort of wow, hang on, there's only 21 million, there's this many people. We can sort of sum up the network effects and stuff quite intuitively, whereas a lot of people, they just think linear, like, oh well, there's only 100 cases here. They think there's only 100 cases here, so, and then next week 1,000, 2,000.
It's really difficult, any number can be spliced in a different way to show something else, and there's the perception of how you view that splicing of numbers. So in the UK, at the moment we've just gone up to 105, so it's 35% up. The day before was nearly 100% up. That does sound really, really bad, but I think that maybe the Bitcoiners have been easier, they found it easier to get along with this because of the fact that there's generally a kind of anarchistic, not quite trusting the government thing going on. So that people already there's distrust in the financial system, distrust in the government. So therefore, whatever the government's saying is probably not real. And there's also the general kind of paranoia about I wouldn't say paranoia, but knowing that this system that we currently use of the financial system and the infrastructure that we've got is crazy, inefficient, and really poorly managed and run. Maybe also the data behind what we're getting in from the governments is equally as bad and equally as crappily organized. But at the same time, people, humans work in the government. It's not like this entity that that is completely Orbis random entity. That it is a physical. There are people that we know and we can touch and feel that live and work there, and they're our family, or they'll probably be related to you in 7 ways, links of Kevin Bacon or whatever it was. But waffling on. I do look at the stats and do think, well, come on, there's like 6,000 in UK, 6,000 people died of flu in the 2019-2020 flu season. At the moment, we're on like 135, and it's causing such a big panic. So you can understand why some people are like, oh, here's number A, and it's nothing compared to number B. So what we all getting worried about? I think that's probably one of the things why people have taken it so easy. They're seeing that combined with it's less numbers than the flu, and especially if they're young, they're like, oh, look at that, there's only 0.01% of the it's fatal. So am I going to be that unlucky person who's 1 in 1,000?
Yeah,
Crazy.
I'm not so sure that Bitcoiners have any special ability to see the future or to determine virality. I think more than likely they're just a bunch of conspiracy theorists, and Bitcoin's a conspiracy, and this is a conspiracy, and they were on it early, and they were able to talk about it because they're conspiracy theorists. And I think in this case, they got lucky. They got really lucky. This one it's the one. It's a big deal. They were there early. They look good. They're celebrating. But more importantly now, I think we're going to be joined by Theo Goodman, who's wearing a mask and now seems
Hi,
to be,
can you hear me?
You seem to be CGI'd on a picture of your face.
Can you hear me? Oh, wait, I can do it like this. Can you hear me now?
Hear me now.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I got my mask on. What's up?
You're getting me paranoid, man. What am I going to do?
Right. Yeah, I know.
Don't cough into the mic.
If you go out, you should be masked up. If you have to go to the supermarket, and you could wear glasses are good. So I wear glasses anyway, but but glasses are pretty good protection because you can get it through your eyes, and it kind of reminds you not to touch your face or your eyes, and I think it's so we should set a sign by wearing a mask in public. Also, a really cool thing for the social distancing that helps is if you wear a mask and sunglasses, then I notice people just get out of your way. So you don't have to they do the social distancing for you. You don't have to do it. They're kind of afraid a little bit. I guess I could understand, but it makes it a lot easier. If you don't want to be around anyone and you have to be in public, my tip is wear some kind of mask and sunglasses, and people will just kind of get out of your way.
And on a recent episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry found the same thing to be true, except he was wearing a Trump hat.
Oh, right. Yeah, that could work too.
Really
Depends on, but that could also attract people. It just depends on where you're going.
That's right. It was a little of both. He wanted to get out of dinner with some guy. He didn't like him. And he was like, I'll just wear this hat and no one will want to be seen with me, and so on and so forth. And it was just, that's
an interesting test. Well, what you could do is what I said. You could go hardcore, and you could do a mask, sunglasses, and a Trump hat, and see what that does. That could be.
You terrify people, I'm pretty sure.
I really like this Zoom backgrounds because I can do this. So now I'm in grassland. But anyway, if we're going to talk about Corona and quarantine, I hope everybody is doing whatever, exercising every day. It's important because I'm over here. Can you go away right now?
Oh,
yeah.
And Entschuldigung.
Okay, it's okay. We got that. See, we're covered in the grass camouflage here.
Das
so
Kinder.
Cool. Yeah. So, what was I going to say? I was going to say it's important that you do some kind of activity, everyday physical activity, because otherwise you're going to go insane. And you need to, so if you really are doing hardcore quarantine, you can't really go outside, then just go to YouTube and look up prison workouts. And there's a lot of really good prison workouts, and it's really inspiring because they go nuts. And so you can do a lot in a small area. Oh, here we go. See, we got the masks going. Those are good goggles. And so I encourage everyone to do it. If you have a backyard that you don't have to share with a lot of people, that's a real big advantage. And I think so I guess it's turned into like the quarantine group or the Corona group.
We talk about the virus quite a lot. It's unstoppable these days. You can't.
Yeah, it's unstoppable.
We've broken it in. So
I like the commentary about the gold. We were talking about that. I was talking to people last days about that. And yeah, so if you just go on, so maybe you saw it, I think it was actually 2 days ago in Berlin, there was that picture that was going around of people lining up in front of Degussa for the gold. And it looked like they couldn't get in. I don't know if everyone was able to be served, but there was quite a line out there. It was probably like 20 to 50 people in the line in the picture, which is pretty big line.
They were drawing nuggets.
And if you just go to a few of the websites like Kitco or Degussa or wherever, there's not a lot that you can order right now. I mean, like Kitco just said, due to a lot of demand, come back in a few weeks, basically. And Degussa just has like, I think they were offering really, really big bars, like 20K US dollar kind of big, or in silver also, and maybe some weird commemorative silver somethings, but everything else is pretty much sold out for now. And it says on the website 2 weeks, but there could already have a lot of back demand for that now. So it just shows bare assets, and this kind of thing is where it's at, whether that's toilet paper or gold rounds or tuna. Tuna is good. Canned tuna is always, delicacy. And like we've heard in prison, sometimes mackerel is used used like that. So,
many fine books have been written in prison.
And not to make people paranoid, but everyone should also think of their personal safety as far as like, okay, do I have like alarms, and do I have, because people, if things do get hairy, then people act really crazy. Like, what about if the power went out now during this? Then people get really weird, and they do.
Then we wouldn't be able to broadcast.
Yeah,
Be Luffy.
Exactly.
What about?
Wow. So what? Cryptoraptor? What is that? Is that like a Ghostbuster kind of thing, or what is that?
It is. It definitely won't protect me from any epidemic, but it's the closest thing to hand. And it's because obviously it doesn't cover my nose.
Well, actually, that would protect you, because if you wore that in public, people would get out of your way. So it would be like a social distancer,
It would be like a force field. They'll be like,
exactly.
It's the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 limited edition. Like I say, limited edition. It was like £100. Oh my god, my nose has changed.
That's funny.
It's quite painful, but I
so
feel that
I guess you guys have already covered it. I mean, I've been watching it. Of course, we had during the whole, when everything really dumped, including Bitcoin, you had a lot of the armchair intellectuals come out and say, told you so, Bitcoin's wrecked anyway, nobody wants this shit, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's valid.
The big thing, they said that Bitcoin failed as a store of value, right?
Well, the thing is this is always what happens during crises, is that people always go first to they sell everything first, and then when there's a body count, or body count's pretty hard word, but you know what I mean, like a damage report, then people tend to slowly go into safe havens, because they realize, like in this case, well, inflation is going to be out of hand, we're going to have high negative interest, et cetera, et cetera. So then they're going to say, okay, well, now we know now everything is being announced. Hey, we're going to throw a lot of money on the economy, because in the short term we have to do that, otherwise people will basically die. And so we're going to have to do that in the short term, and that's going to lead to a lot of inflation and crazy interest rates and things. So I'm going to want to get some kind of bear asset going on. And so that's what that's beginning what we're seeing, like yesterday and today, as far as like daily price action. We'll see. There could also be some more shocks. For example, Germany is not officially under, it's not under forcible lockdown. It's just a question of when they're going to do it. I think they're just waiting on the best day of the week or whatever to do it, because people are not recognizing it as much as they should. And so, I mean, France has it, Switzerland has it, Italy has it, Austria has it. I mean, Spain. A lot of the countries have it. There's no reason. It's obvious that that's going to have to happen. It's just about, but I'm guessing when that happens, there might be another market reaction, just because I don't know, it just sounds really bad. You know what I mean? Markets tend to like these big announcements like that, you know. So let's see if Bitcoin follows or is decoupled or what happens. But I think it's an interesting time.
People very scared about the second and third wave theory as well, I think. So, you know, there are people who are buying some of that fear. But at the same time, I am sort of, you know, watching more on the Spanish flu. The second wave was like many more times hardcore. So if they're really not sure at the moment about whether it's, you know, whether you can get it twice or whether we will actually have or likely to have some immunity to it, then I'm not putting any buy orders in.
Maybe that's part of the speculation. We can only anticipate, you know, some of that stuff going on. I mean, there could also be, you know, some kind of treatment of some kind, whether that's vaccine or I don't know. There could also be some developments in that we don't know how long that's going to take. I'm sure they're working hard on it, but you know, it's just a matter of time. Do we have any questions from the audience or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the question?
Theo, what my question, what have you stockpiled so far? Is there anything that you suddenly thought, oh fuck, I need toothpaste?
Oh, you mean that well, you know, stockpiling is kind of like Fight Club. You shouldn't really tell like how much.
Yeah.
But
it was a panic.
First of all, I mean, you have to look at the situation. So, if you look at Italy, if you read like some of the accounts, they have food. It's not that they don't have food, but it is nice not to have to go out during a pandemic, right? So it's not a bad idea to have a good supply of food. I would say of course you need things. I would say, you know, rice is a typical thing that people have because that's easy to cook. Flour and sugar, because all those things stay real good a long time. You can make a lot of bread. You can make cookies. You know, and you're also, don't forget to get things. Don't just go nuts on spaghetti. You're going to need things that are going to make you happy, like maybe get some chocolate and stockpile that a little bit. You know, just those little things is going to make a huge difference if you're stuck at home and you don't want to go out. So I would also, and art supplies, anything like that keeps you sane in this situation. Like imagine the internet didn't work because everyone's online all day and you don't have any art supplies and you don't have any cookies or I don't know what, you know what I mean? Then you might go a little bit insane. Whereas if you're prepared for that, if you have some books, if you have something creative to do, got acoustic guitar ready to go, then at least you can jam out for a while. And so I would say those are things that people might forget. And the other thing that is important that people might forget is I would look at it from a point of view. Imagine you can't go to the doctor or hospital at all. So you're going to want to be able to treat as much things you can at home. So maybe you should get some anti-diarrhea medicine, maybe, I don't know, whatever else you think that might, you know, be able to do first aid as much as possible, you know, stockpile on that and just to be ready to treat everything at home, even any little thing. Because you probably, if it gets bad, you won't be able to go to the hospital or you won't want to go to the hospital because of fear of infection. So
I think that's good advice, Theo. We're also joined by the caller. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from? And what's your name? Sorry.
Hey, it's Marty from San Jose.
Hey,
we're on day 2 of our. It's all right. It's all right. We're on day 2 of our shelter in place here. It's better than a doornail, man. I live across the street from an office building and it's empty.
Whoa.
Getting eerie.
Yeah, I know there was pictures last night from Las Vegas. The Strip has been shut down, but I think they don't want people to freak out, so they're keeping the lights on. I don't really want to imagine it of what it looks like with the lights off, and I don't want the lights to be off. Much in the same way, I don't want to go to the grocery store and see these empty shelves. Just mentally, I just don't want to see it. So I've made currently we're sticking with what we got. But how is it in San Jose there? It's all shut down?
It's shut down. Yeah, the grocery stores the shelves are empty, and it's getting surreal. But I wanted to call, and this is kind of conspiracy minded, because you know what? I do not trust what they're saying. And the first thing would be that, first of all, the mortality rate and the fact that it only affects younger people or older people. And my logic behind that is that they wouldn't shut down the entire world essentially if it only affected older people, because the government's role is to protect society and to keep the gears running. And as soon as everything stops, the flow of money stops. And they need a workforce to keep that moving. And if the virus affects that workforce and it kills, say, 25, 30% of people, they can't have that. And in fact, I think it's probably more. But they're keeping the numbers low, and they're probably not, here in the United States, they're not testing everyone. So I'm almost positive that people are dying, pneumonia, heart failure, but they're just not tallying the numbers because they don't have the test kits. So what do you guys think about that? Is that a fair?
There are concrete reports of, quote, young people dying in Italy. So take it seriously, everybody. It's not like because you're young and you're immune. I don't know if I don't have any reason to say it's like a big conspiracy to withhold that much, but we can try to get whatever data we can get from infected areas. And there definitely have been people that are supposed to be in the low risk range that even died, not only were really sick, but died. Or there's also that video of the lady that says don't smoke going around. She's not really in the typical high risk area. So it's definitely going to affect all ages. So everyone should take it very seriously.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And have you guys seen the Johns Hopkins University map where they point all the locations and the number of infected and the recovered?
Yeah, crazy.
So China, obviously, they fudged their numbers out of Hubei. But then if you look at Europe and you look at like Italy and France, and the number of recovered versus the number of dead actually puts it at like a 60% mortality rate. But the problem with that is you can't really, we only have anecdotal evidence on their age. The doctors in the Netherlands and, like you said, Italy, are saying that the young are being affected by this as well. They don't put the age of the deaths on that Johns Hopkins website. We just get what the doctors are telling us. So
that's a very good point. That's a very good point. The other thing I haven't seen is many bloggers or vloggers just going, this is what's happening to me, and that's kind of weird. I find is that we aren't really getting, people that are on these social media sites really posting updates, going down the rabbit hole, the COVID rabbit hole.
That's a good point. I saw a graph that I thought was quite cool, and it was like the number of UFO sightings or sort of ghost sightings, and the number of the correlation and inverse correlation of the number of or the accessibility of cameras. And I kind of think that's like there's a synergy here in that China was the most locked down, in terms of internet and stuff. It's very locked down, very censored, and so I think we're bound to get all sorts of crazy reports. That a lot of them that couldn't be verified, for example, for the argument that it's locked down and they wouldn't let you verify it. So I think that it does seem odd that we're not seeing complete pandemonium and chaos that we saw in those images from Italy, for example. But the numbers from Italy are the worrying thing. I mean, it's now overtaken China. So, yeah. Oh dear. And I'm still get well soon. And I'm still really also confused about the fact that, like, if it was just completely rife in Wuhan, and that had a population of 6 million, then the 2,000 deaths that come from Wuhan, that seems like a really low number if it was something that was left to proliferate without any restriction, and the government were trying to hide the fact that there was something, and therefore they weren't doing much about it. So I don't know. I think that's pretty good. Well, no deaths are good, but 2,000 out of 6 million as a percentage is kind of reassuring, if I can say that.
probably not reassuring.
Yeah, it's reassuring, but I think it. I mean, you got to put yourself in the shoes of the government, right? Like they want to stave off panic as long as they can, and they'll. It's that saying from that movie Contagion, where they say nobody knows until everybody knows, and I don't think it's a conspiracy that includes, all the doctors are in on it. And that's why we're seeing doctors come out and say, oh, this is hitting young people hard. And it's not just older people. And also just their response, just the way that the government would react to this was just like indicative to me that it is far worse than what Dr. Fauci says at the CDC. He says, it's a 1% mortality rate. The risk is low for Americans as a whole. And anyways, and one other thing I wanted to mention. I saw on Reddit, Bill Gates did an Ask Me Anything about the coronavirus, and they had asked him, how are things going to get back to normal in regards to going out to restaurants and eating places, and he essentially said that, well, if and when there's a vaccine, people would need to be counted on some kind of digital, like a digital account. And immediately I thought of blockchain, and this would be a perfect excuse for governments to basically put human beings on the blockchain. I know it sounds a little nuts, but think about it. For the longest time, people have been faking names and, social security numbers, and they want that kind of control and power. It's how it's what they do. So I don't know. Maybe they just want to put people on the blockchain, man. It's a weird world.
I don't know. It sounds pretty creepy. I'm not sure if we want to be on the blockchain, but I do agree with you. We need a way to make sure that everyone had the vaccine. I don't know that we're going to go door to door, if that makes sense in today's world, but there's going to be some kind of a digital check-in. It's definitely going to be a thing.
Oh yeah, and they won't let you out and buy anything, and then they'll say that the cash is a fomite. The virus survives on it for 9 days. Here's a new Federal Reserve coin. You can exchange your money for this if you get the vaccine. I don't know.
I'm right there with you.
Waxing poetic here.
No one can buy or sell without the mark of the beast,
viruses,
right?
It's antibacterial, it's antiviral, it's antifungal.
Hey
Go
guys,
back to
I've
silver.
got to sign off, but maybe I got to sign off. But thanks a lot, and if you guys are doing it every day, then maybe I'll come on again, because we all got to keep in touch during the whole quarantine thing. This is good.
Yeah, but Theo, I got to just before you go, I wanted to ask.
Yes.
Now that all the sports are gone.
Yeah.
You're the big sports betting guy. What are you doing?
Exactly. It's a good question. And guess what? This is so funny. Ironically, while I was on the show, basically people are most of the people they're kind of like, whoa, what do I do? I guess I should do trading. So they're looking at trade. Some of the guys are asking me, what can I do? There was a few funny things that happened in my Telegram community. So I have a Telegram chat for sports betting. It's not like a VIP chat where I tell you what to do. It's actually just like a public chat. Anyone can come in. And there were some people betting yesterday on Ugandan high school soccer. It was the most, one of the most obscure sports things. And I've seen a lot of obscure sports betting, believe me. That's one of the most obscure leagues, at least, I've ever seen. So apparently Ugandan under 20 women's soccer is still going on.
It seems like something you could rig pretty easily.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and ironically, I just got a message from a website that I write for occasionally, and they said, "Hey, Theo, do you write about stock market prices? Because you can." So I've just looked up this website, Bet Online, which is an offshore, and they're they're doing binary betting, predict the Bitcoin price 5,000 to 7,000 on March 31st. Yes or no? This kind of thing. Bitcoin price under 3,000. Yes or no? They're doing in the same thing with Amazon and Apple. So I think even the sports books are like, what the hell do we do now? We're not making any money. So they're trying to offer financial bets on this kind of thing. So yeah, the people, it's a funny little discussion. It's also funny because scammers never give up. It's so funny. There's people like coming into the Telegram channel are like, hey guys, I got this cool deal. Don't you want to know the best things to bet on right now? We're like, there's no games. What it's just like, so obviously real fail marketing scam by them. But yeah, so there's nothing to really bet on at all if you're into sports betting, and everyone is looking to financials or trading.
You maybe think of is it the rat race where they start off in like Vegas and they've got to get a suitcase somewhere, like take it somewhere, and it's like John Cleese and co, and they're all betting on ridiculous things like which I don't know which sandwich the waiter puts down first. They're all like literally anticipation. They're like,
also another thing is still going on is of course online poker is still going on. So there's also I talked to someone yesterday that was like, hey, I'm going to set up a game. So that's actually, I mean, I don't encourage anyone to use a lot of resources right now. But I mean, if you're just like for the means of sanity, there's no reason why you couldn't play a very small stakes poker game online for fun. I mean, just to keep your sanity, there's plenty of small stake ones to do. So I encourage people to do other stuff besides talk about Corona all day, because otherwise it's not healthy. You're not going to last long doing that either. So with that, I bid you guys goodbye and keep going, and maybe I'll see you another day soon.
All right. Thanks so much, Theo.
Well, Theo.
Yeah. So,
hey man, this is the caller. I'm gonna take off too. But thanks for hearing that. And I didn't mean to freak anyone out, but things we gotta think
feedback. Thanks for calling in.
Yep. Thanks for the call. Call us anytime.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this. Keeping my lockdown ass occupied here.
There we go. Every morning we'll just keep doing this. So thanks so much. And I agree with Theo saying about other games and playing some things. You can also play video games for not that much. You can get yourself another game. It's pretty fun. My favorite game on the Nintendo Switch seems to be buying and downloading other games on the Nintendo Switch. Something about as a kid that was raised with cartridges and you couldn't have enough games, and now they're all built into the system. They just sit there. They're all, anyone's accessible. It's been fun. So last night I went ahead and tried Twitch, or actually this was on YouTube. Anyone could have watched this on the Mad Bitcoins YouTube channel, and I played a little Tetris there. So this is a cool new Tetris that I bought called Tetris Effect. I think it's mainly for virtual reality, which I'm agreeing with you. This would all be distracting to the game. I don't really get to look at these incredible visuals while I'm focusing on the pieces. But it's fun. It's a different way of playing Tetris, and thought it was fun to try out the old live streaming thing, So we might try this again, although I don't think anyone watched it. So no one was interested in watching me play Tetris, but we gave them the option. So.
One of my bucket list of or COVID list stuff to do whilst I'm quarantined is get a projector out and rummage through all the old like emulators I've got to rent some like massive screen X-Men versus Street Fighter or like Turrican or something on the Amiga. Yeah, time to catch up.
Sounds pretty cool. Now you're making me want to go order that Commodore 64 emulator that I haven't bought yet.
Yeah, the old Neo Geo games. We used to click them. We used to get like the electric, piezoelectric clickers out of the hot water systems. Go to the arcade machines, you click them, and it clock up credits. Oh, that's good. Yeah. And then we used to sell them at school. Like, just go around, hey, you want to get free credits? And then the poor shop owner, he'd see all these kids crowd around this Neo Geo for like hours on end, and then they'd collect the money. There's like hardly anything in there. They finally figured it out.
Street Fighter must have made like loads of shop owners millionaires. Like I just remember queuing up to play it in like the local Chinese like takeaway. There'd just be queues out the door, and people would be like, "Are you queuing for food?" And we're like, "No, queuing to play Street Fighter."
Yeah,
it really was the biggest thing. People who had donut shops were buying boats because they put a Street Fighter machine in. It was a pretty big deal. And it's funny, Josh, you'd mentioned Neo Geo games. They're actually having a bit of a revival on the Nintendo Switch. A bunch of them have been packaged up as kind of $7, $8 games. Things like Metal Slug and a bunch of the other side-scroller shooter games. There's just a bunch of those. So the Switch, it's funny, I mainly play retro games on the Switch. I play old games. I've got the Nintendo NES library thing and the SNES and a couple of things like that, and shooters and side-scrollers and Zelda. You know, played the Zelda.
Played the Zelda. Yeah, guys, I also have to slowly head off, but it's been wonderful. The markets are absolutely insane at the moment, and you know, it is really kind of interesting living in this time where, you know, as an old school gold bug, running a gold business, gold Bitcoin business, it's interesting because we've talked for years about Federal Reserve printing too much, about, well, what happens if, put some money away for a rainy day. Then we also have the Bitcoiners going, no, Bitcoin's the new gold, and all the gold bugs like Peter Schiff going, Bitcoin, like freaks. And we're like, no, they work really well together. But it's really interesting seeing now it all play out. So I'm you know, glued to my machine, trying to fill orders and all this sort of stuff. But at the same time, I really want people to stay safe. And so I think it's super important that you look after your family in these times, that you don't just follow every conspiracy theory out there, because, you know, be careful. One thing you got to ask yourself is, if you listen to a conspiracy theory that says it's all fake and a fraud, would you be willing to go to a Berliner U-Bahn and just lick the seat? You know, would Alex Jones do that?
Before me.
Yeah. You know, let's see, like, it's, you know, have a just in case, it's really, really important to try to work from home, make things ends meet. And my heart and mind go out to all of the shop people working at the stores where people have to buy stuff. They're sitting there handling cash. They're really quite brave, because you can imagine what's going through their head all day long. And so my hat goes off to them. And yeah, keep up the good work, everyone, and stay safe.
Keep safe.
Good stuff. Thanks for joining us, Josh. And we're probably going to end the show now, too, as well. Just want to remind everyone to donate. If you've got some Bitcoin at home, you can donate now with the QR code on your screen. We've had 33 donors. Our goal is to get to 40. So $5, $10, anything helps. You can also donate in the chat with the super chat. So thanks so much for watching. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and a share. If it's your first time here, you can subscribe down below. If you've subscribed before, make sure you're subscribed. Sometimes you get unsubscribed, and hit that bell for notifications so it'll tell you about new episodes. Dan, anything you want to say in closing?
Stay safe. You know, cough into a tissue, throw the tissue in the bin, all that sort of stuff. Wipe your hands. Saw a great little demonstration earlier of someone who put their finger in some water with loads of pepper in it, and then they went and dipped their finger in the soap, and then they dipped it back in the water, and the pepper literally like jumped out of the bowl away, because it represents germs. So do wash your hands, and that especially applies after going to the I don't know, does it actually going to the toilet? Well, just do that anyway, because that's probably the worst part.
I don't know, but wash your hands, stay home, stay safe. Let's get through this thing together. Thanks so much for joining us. Until next time, bye-bye.